You can look at anything in the world, and until you encapsulate it in a frame, it is not a piece of art. And the minute you put a border around any image, all of a sudden it highlights what is within that frame. Your hair is literally growing all around your face, and exactly how it is cut is going to present the art of somebody's face in a different frame. I have had the experience of walking down a street and suddenly a huge gust of wind blows your hair all over the place. And I always kind of think, how nice would it be if you could just have the most carefree feeling at all times of day, that no matter how your hair is ruffled and lays back down, that it's going to lay in this way that makes you look good. Sometimes I see cutting hair as a mandala, where you're painstakingly creating this piece of art, knowing that eventually it's going to be destroyed by natural process. It's like the monks that create a mandala on sand, knowing that when the tide comes in, that mandala will never be there again. It's the beauty of creating something in that moment that is just going to keep changing. In my experience, 9 out of 10 people do not want to blow dry their hair. And that 1 out of 10 person who does want to blow dry their hair is doing it because they don't like the way that their hair grows out of their head. And I take that as a challenge personally to help that person like their hair, just the way that it grows out of their head. Hi, come on in. I tell people when they come in here to come exactly like your hair normally is on a daily basis. If you just get out of the shower and air dry your hair, if you wash your hair every 3 days, come to me on the 2nd or 3rd day. I want to see what your hair starts doing on its own without your manipulating your hair. When someone typically arrives, I sit them in my chair and I tell them that I'm going to cut their hair dry. What percentage of time do you spend with your hair sopping wet out in the world? Why would I cut somebody's hair in a way that it's never worn? All I know is that I'm working with an organic substance. This shape.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, okay. Cool. When I'm cutting someone's hair, I'm constantly messing their hair up, and I want to see what this person's hair is going to do when it's not laying exactly the way I comb it to lay. Kind of like individual.
The pieciness is great. Yeah, I don't want it to be too uniform.
If you don't blow dry your hair, flat iron your hair, great. Just come in, sit down, and I'm going to be able to see how your hair starts to grow out of your head. The way they teach you in school to cut hair is on a mannequin, which is like an inanimate object that is made in a factory, and every mannequin's hair is made to be growing symmetrically in this uniform fashion. And never do they tell you how to address an organic head of hair, which has a completely different growth pattern. Everybody's head of hair is entirely unique. If you think of everybody's fingerprint, for example, being entirely a unique identifier of who they are, your head of hair is actually really, really similar. You're coming from a vantage point of an adult and you're able to see a very clear whorl on the back of their head. Well, everybody's hair grows in a spiral exactly that way. It starts from here and it continues either clockwise or counterclockwise, and your entire growth pattern is this sort of revolving. So by nature of how your hair is growing out of your head, it's definitely not going to be symmetrical. One side of your hair is going to be growing this way and one side of your hair is going to be growing this way. And of course everybody wants their hair to lay symmetrically, so that means that I have to approach each side of the head completely differently. On the top layer of someone's hair, for example, it might be a completely different texture than the hair growing out of here. You can't see that kind of thing when someone's hair is wet. When cutting someone's hair, I look at that exact pattern, and based on somebody's lifestyle and what it is that they want their hair to look like, I address all of these different patterns and areas on someone's head separately and uniquely. One of the most fascinating things about hair is that it is constantly growing out of someone's head. When that's the medium that you're working with, you have to take into account that it is something that's constantly changing. And what I love about connecting with hair and working with it is that that is taken into account. with what I'm doing.
My hair is different in summer than it is in winter, and
It
you know,
is,
in the
and
spring
it
you can-
changes
yeah.
too. The ideal scenario is that several months can go by and you can wake up and be happy about your hair.